Alright, welcome back. We are on episode 5. This will be the fourth part of Ranger HQ. So at this point, we've spoken to all the major NPCs in Ranger HQ. And if you did that as a solid, like I sat down and started the whole game from the ambush site to now, as far as dialogue that you have to listen to in the NPCs straight through, you probably have a good solid hours worth of just dialogue from the NPC. That's, no actual gameplay, just straight up dialogue. So now we're gonna move forward with actually doing some of the encounters in this zone. And there's a terminal in this room that we're about to go in that has a lot of lore information on it that will take some time to read through. So I'm going to actually read through these documents and show it in the video. If you don't want to read those documents, so there'll be a point where I'll say, okay, you can go ahead and just fast forward from this point. But so moving on, we have our two custom rangers, the initial two, Honey and Minx, and the two that we made, Vixen and Strumpet, and we picked up Marshall Kwan. So we'll move on to the first room after talking to Del Hackett here and the prisoner down here in the brig.
Pretty grand in here. Maybe you can make it your trophy hall or museum or something, or a handball court.
Okay, I've noticed that I have not put the special weapons on that you get at the beginning of the game. So let's go look at our weapons. Yeah. Like I said, the brawlers are a very weak character. So I usually equip a bladed weapon until they get to level 10, and then brawling weapons are a bit better. Hopefully we'll get the recipe to craft the foam finger as soon as possible, and that will make things a little bit better for us. Remember, our brawler is our first aid person, so they're able to use the med packs. Just to say, this is the sweet smelling mushroom that we picked up off the corpse from where where Andy died, and it kind of leads you to believe that perhaps the prisoner was somehow responsible for Andy's death, potentially. Set up our healing items, and that's a smoke grenade there. Smoke grenades are pretty damn powerful in this game. Now, ideally here, your sniper takes out one of these things right off the bat, and when the second one comes into you, you have a line set up to where you're able to kill it before it does anything to you. These things have a poisonous attack, but you're able to kill one of these, you might be able to avoid it. 66% chance. Alright, there we go. Fired it off. Alright, we're gonna get our sniper farther back, hopefully, to avoid that attack. Then we're going to basically ambush. I could have moved the brawler up a little bit, but I don't want the attack to hit. It's not a big deal, but you know, I just rather kill it off without having it. Alright, come on. Ah, he got it off.
I feel sick.
Yeah, the ambush range wasn't
Got
close
him
enough.
cold.
Alright. I want to conserve SMG ammo, so I don't really want to use that. I want to. Shotgun shells actually ended up being one of the ammo types I ran out of early on, so I'd rather keep those if I can.
Now.
Alright. So Marshal Kwan, you know, he got poisoned here. It's unfortunate, but we're gonna let him suffer because he should have dodged it. So remember, when we're looting, you're always going to be looting with the highest luck character. And remember, our goal is 200. You need $200. These dolls, let me put something out here on this. In Wasteland 1 and 2, I mean, I don't remember ever seeing anything like these. It doesn't seem like these match the lore of any of the games. I don't understand what the purpose of these dolls were as far as the lore goes. Like when you read these things, they're just really twisted. Like some really twisted individual, the programmer in Wasteland 3 put these in there, and it doesn't really make any sense with any of the lore of the game. These seem like, I mean, I know why you're getting the bonuses and whatnot. That's fine. But this part of it, the lore part of it, is like, it's just incongruent with the game series altogether. I just don't understand it. They could have easily done these same things, but actually add lore that is part of the game. I guess it's just to demonstrate how brutal and violent everything has turned into. You know, how society just went down in flames after the deluge of fire. I don't know, but you'll see a lot of these dolls when you start finding them, and they're all like this. They have these weird, like, it's almost like some kind of like twisted criminal pedophile worked for this company and decided to put all these dolls in there to satisfy their twisted fantasies. I don't get it. Okay, so this terminal has a lot of lore involved with just generally the game itself, what's going on, some aftermath, and you know what happens during the intervening time from when the war started to now, about what happens in this specific Peterson Air Force Base, you know, in Ranger HQ. There are several uh, stuff checks that you need to have done. But one of our characters has that. So I would suggest that you don't read any of these documents until you're able to read them all in the order in which they are there, and you can't do that until you pass those checks, because coming back to the terminal later on in the game to read the ones that you didn't read because you didn't have the skill check ready, it kind of does it kills the story flow. So if you don't have the nerd stuff to go ahead and do these checks, wait until you have enough to do all of them at the same time and then read them all. But it gives you a lot of background information. So again, if you didn't have this, okay, you wouldn't want to read this personal log first because this isn't the oldest log available to you, and then you're reading things really out of order. So this log just popped up. It's 3 years earlier. All right, so that nerd stuff check opened up 3 logs now. Now you have the proper order of logs as far as the dates go. So this one goes to 1995. So before the war. All right, so now you have every log available to you, and at this point you can read them all in chronological order, and things make much more sense when that happens. So going back to the personal logs. Alright, at this point you can fast forward because I'm going to basically just pop up the logs and read the logs. And if you have already read them or you just want to, look at it, pause the game and go, that's fine. But I'm actually going to read the logs out here and then move forward. So this takes a little bit of time. So the tape we found in Del Hackett's room was the suicide. So you make the assumption here that this uh, entry is about that suicide. If you're not familiar with Wasteland 1 and 2, this is actually an important line in this report. And I'm not really going to get into the previous two games, but if you want, you can do the search for Citadel Star Station, and it'll give you a much better grasp of what Wasteland 3 really is all about if you did not play the first two and you're trying to play this as a standalone. Alright, so this is about a year after the nukes, and this is pretty much getting to the messaging from Wasteland 1, Wasteland 2. So this report is the information purge. So in the previous um, menu system, he said he was going to evacuate Peterson Air Force Base for a secondary facility. So this is the evacuation part. And I assume this line right here is the actual whatever remaining soldiers that were in Ranger HQ, well, in Peterson Air Force Base when they evacuated. They're actually retreating. They're not retreating. They're leaving. So this is a moment where Peterson Air Force Base is officially abandoned. So if you really weren't paying attention, the previous report, the word intruder was spelled wrong. It was a B instead of a D. And as time goes by, more and more of those types of errors introduce themselves, and it shows like a breakdown in uh, the computer system, power. I don't know, why the programming would suddenly change letters in the alphabet. Um, as long as it has power, I mean, it doesn't matter how long it is. There should never be that type of error. So I'm not really sure why they wanted to introduce the decay of technology in this fashion. I think they could have done it in a better way that made a little bit more sense. So again, this is 11 years after that previous one where the first error was entered in the alphabet, and you can see here the word catastrophic. So as the logs progress, they get progressively the spelling of words is changed. Again, I guess it's just to show the deterioration over time. All right, so intruder 34 is now classified as deceased. Um, so who was 34 again? So 34 is the one that was providing the meal. So I guess intruders 30, 31, 30, 31, 32, and 33 did not like their meal enough that 34 was killed, possibly eaten. So we can make an assumption here that the three servitors in the war room right now are servitors 22, 103, and 616. So that final log there was when Sergey and Kwan mentioned that they came to Ranger HQ, and that was Andy going to the brig. Alright, so that's all the messages out of that terminal, and that gives you, a much greater view of what happened here, specifically in this building, and some of the things about the war itself. And like I said, if you're not familiar with Wasteland 1 and 2, I would suggest to go to one of the wiki sites and take a look at it, because it does give you a much clearer picture of what you're doing here in Wasteland 3 and some of the decisions you make. And I'll be making a lot of situations that are not that are countered to what you as a ranger would have done if you live through Wasteland 1 and 2. Basically, you get a healthy disregard for computers, for machines, for AI. Like, you understand how dangerous those things are in this universe to human beings. And if your leaders and people that were basically the first people after the war, if they documented the history and taught everybody else for the next 100 years what really happened and what was going on, you in this game would not be friendly to anything that had anything to do with AI. Um, so a lot of decisions in this game come down to decisions about AI and about machines and picking sides. So I told you my goal in this was a convenience party, and one of the goals is to fill up the brig with as many prisoners as I can, just to see it. But the other goal is counter what you would normally do if you were like really into the game from Wasteland 1 and 2. You wouldn't allow AIs to survive. You wouldn't be friendly with machines. You would just murder them all on sight. I'm going to do the exact opposite. Like, I'm going to do everything I can to uh, be on whatever machine side I can be on, to be on the AI side when I can, and try to get as much of the content I can by protecting them. Now, there are some decisions that you make about that will take away other decisions in the game that you can't do. So this game is very it is easily a game that you can play multiple times and have a lot of fun playing multiple times, specifically because you can make certain choices that go to one side and certain choices go to the other side and have completely different outcomes of what's going on. Uh, Unfortunately, you don't know that until you play for a little while and you're like, oh, I made this decision here, and now this decision is counter that decision, but I really like this decision, and I would rather have gone back and decided something different on this. So that's one of the other reasons that I started this one. I'm like, I got to the machine commune and started making decisions, and I'm like, man, I really don't want to go out and start, murdering and killing all these machines right now, because I want to see what's going to happen. But I was already killing AI before that. And then when you get to Steel Town, you have to make some other decisions about, do you kill AI or do you preserve AI, or are you for enslavement of sentient beings that are, basically computer programs, or are you going to be on the side of, humans, no matter how evil they may seem? And as rangers of Wasteland 1 and 2, you would not let any of those AIs live. But I'm like, I really want to see what happens if you do. So I decided that on this gameplay, I'm going to be on the machine side every single time. I'm going to be on the AI side every single time, unless it gets to the point where you have to choose, one or the other. That it's just simply impossible to be on that side. And I don't know if it'll get to that, because, like I said, I did not play this game fully through yet. But so I just wanted to throw that out there. I mean, take a look at the lore of Wasteland 1 and 2, and you'll understand a lot more about this game. Alright, so that completes this room. we have 139. Okay, so let's go get some money. Alright, there is a lore item in this desk. And this journal will come back later on in the game. Okay, so like I said, you'll come across an NPC that will cherish this journal, acquiring this journal. So Gabrielle Reyes and Althea Wesson are obvious. They are Lucia Wesson's. They might even be the parents or grandparents. Um, I've noticed in a lot of games, you'll have subtitles that you can read, or like the game begins with an introduction paragraph and it starts scrolling through and you start reading. And I don't know if it's just my reading speed is just much less than everybody else's. Like I just take more time to read, or that I just read that slowly and everybody reads that much faster. But it seems that I never have enough time to read what those subtitles say, or what story they're doing on their little scrolling. But it seems to me that a lot of times in games, you have writers writing, okay, the pages of this journal are yellowed with age. Okay, there's a comma there. That's a pause. You actually pause there, okay? And then the ink has faded. So it seems like the people that program how much time it takes to read each individual sentences never actually look at the punctuation of the sentences. Like, they don't look that the comma is a slight pause, the period is a pause. They don't read it as if you would read it yourself and have those specific pauses. Like when it says it was nice, right? Most people don't. Most people. I don't know if most people. What I'm saying is that they would read that sentence as it was nice. That's not how you would read that sentence. It was nice. Okay, so when they're programming subtitles and screen splashes and paragraphs, they don't take that into account, like that actual long pause, which is what that punctuation means. Anyway, it's just something that it's a pet peeve. It really annoys me in games when programmers do that, when they just ignore punctuations and act like you're supposed to read this sentence in 5 seconds, when it's actually a sentence that, if you follow the punctuation, it's going to be an 8 to 10 second sentence. Program it, read it when you're programming it, and act like you're actually looking at the punctuation. Anyway, ran off. Alright, if you did not have the prospector trait, like if you chose, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just not have this, I will pause for 1 second. Alright, sorry about that pause, life happened, had to deal with something. Anyway, I was talking about the prospector right? If you decided that you did not want to have this this quirk, sorry, um, I would suggest keeping this chest till the very end of this zone to ensure that you at least have 200. If you don't get 200, this chest usually has a decent amount, but it is RNG and you may not make it to the 200, so you might have to reload and save until you get either a lucky crit or a higher than average amount of money from that particular chest. Alright, we got some armor here. 3 strength, scrap armor. Alright, matching scrap armor. Now look at that. Is that not a badass looking clown? Look at him. They actually did a very good job on the scrapped armor. So when, you know, after going to level 20, I honestly believe this is one of the better looking armor sets. Alright, while we're here, go ahead and look at this. So after checking that and getting that nerd stuff checked, talk to the servers again.
Torpedo systems restored. Servitors look for more efficient questing of more routes and enemies.
Oh, and one thing I noticed, on these messages, and I don't know if this is based on psychology of the human brain, like if they actually did research and said, you know, this is what the human brain expects, but when you look at these logs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So every one of the logs, even the security logs, they're set up to be 4 or 5 lines. So I'm wondering if somebody has done some research and said, you know, human beings respond best to reading in 4s and 5s when they're looking at games, as far as, you know, like ADD type of thing going on in gaming. I don't know. I thought that was kind of odd that they all seem to have 4 lines or 5 lines every single time on every single entry in the entire game that I remember so far.
Huh. A garage. We get this cleaned out, you can put your truck in here.
Tired of gridlock? Sick of dodging reckless drivers? Fed up with paying a fortune to shady mechanics that never actually fix your car? Consolidated Atomics has the answer. Introducing Hermes, the revolutionary vehicle AI that's an expert driver, navigator, and auto mechanic all in one. Hermes remembers your daily commute, gathering up-to-the-minute traffic reports to plot the quickest route to your destination. The AI also takes care of basic maintenance, keeping your vehicle in peak condition. Visit your local dealership for information on a Hermes upgrade kit today. Consolidated Atomics, 21st century solutions for the problems of today.
Alright, so picked up some loot while that message was going on. And I don't know why it is in this game, it always seems like when you're clicking on the ground that one person just lags way behind, and if they're not all in a group, you can run by an NPC that triggers a dialogue line. And while they're in the middle of speaking that line, one of your rangers can come from way behind and it'll actually interrupt the NPC, stop the line that it was saying. The NPC will start another line, and it's annoying. So if you're looking to make sure to avoid like interrupting any kind of dialogue in this game from random NPCs just walking by them, make sure your entire group is with you. And I guess whoever did Ranger HQ was fascinated with killing people with electricity. Okay, if you go directly into the mechanic step, you actually do miss a little line here. So you leave the robot alone and go back into it, and it has this new line. And you'll see a lot of dialogue lines are going to be missed if you go directly into options. Um, you know, save often before speaking to things and people and, interacting with items, and then always leave before completing what may be the final step if you want to see everything that the programmers actually designed in whatever interaction you're in. when I first started this game, and probably several restarts afterwards, I fought this fucking thing. I set up and, I was positioning and, actually following through for the combat, and because I wanted to get the XP. And then I realized, and it took me, I don't know, 3 or 4 times before I realized if you just hack the goddamn thing,
That's all you got?
you still get the same XP. It's the exact same XP without firing a bullet. And it's like that in every encounter that you do in this game that has anything that you can hack. So don't worry about hacking anything in this game. You're going to get the XP for it. So you're not losing out. And you don't get more XP for killing it with guns and whatever fists, just if you can hack it, hack it. As far as Animal Whisperer and being able to charm animals, I'm not 100% if you get that XP, because if the charmed animal is the last thing alive, it tries to run out of the zone, and then if it, I don't know what it's trying to do because it can't make it out of the zone, so it runs towards the end of the zone, and then it just disappears and a loot bag shows up if it dropped loot. So I don't know if you actually get the XP from animals that you have charmed. I may test that out while we're playing just to confirm it. This loot bag can be a pain to get. Like, you can't just click on this fucking thing, which is retarded. So I was, first time I did this, I'm like, what the fuck? I actually looked up online. Why couldn't I loot this? I mean, and if you look here, there's a loot bag. And yes, you can go to it. Make sure you have your looter, your luck person. But yeah, you can get to that bag this way. Retarded. But there's your first energy weapon. And these things here, once you get 7 mechanics, they aren't as impressive as they look when you put them out, and they don't act, they really, combat-wise, they're useful, don't get me wrong, they're really useful, but they seem like they should be a lot better than the model makes them look like they should be a lot better. But in combat, they can do some damage for you, and they're good to get up when you have a lot of people that you're fighting. This thing can go up and take care of some of them. So you need 7 mechanics in order to use that. All right, so if you saw, we ran past a diggable out here, and I'll show you all the diggables in a row. So now we'll come up here. In this room, this is the reason you needed First Aid 4. And it looks like we leveled here. So, alright. We've got level 4 and level 4. So, we can actually show you the power leveling trick. Okay, so, again, I always hard save before spending points on a level. And get in that habit, because you will come across a time where it's like, man, I spent my points wrong and I need them this way. Okay, so again, coordination and luck are coming up at the same time. Alright, so we're not going to spend these 3 points, we're going to keep it for lockpicking. Now we get our first perk. Remember, by picking Prospector as a quirk, you lost a slot. And again, on the Sniper, that's not terrible. But at some point later on, you're going to want to pick up the extra slot to be able to use, whatever item you want to use. You'll find on the Sniper, because we're leveling sneaky shit and lockpick fast for getting skill checks, the Sniper rifle, the combat, will lag behind. So you're not going to be spending your perks on the useful things. Sneaky shit line, I mean, second chance, +1, I mean, it's, if you designed your Sniper to be like a mechanic, or possibly nerd stuff where you want to go to a generator that's across the room and you have to cross the paths of some people, then this might be useful. But in this setup that I have, this is completely fucking useless. There's no point in having it. Close call, this again is one of those things that if you do trip the tripwire, I'm just gonna reload. So, and and do whatever it is that I missed. You know, if I just missed the seeing it on the ground, I'll reload and go back and do it. So I'm never going to use that. So these two perks are, I mean, these two perks are terrible. I mean, just absolutely terrible. This one, yeah, that's what you want. And that's fortunate because since I'm going to level sneaky shit more than the sniper rifle, I'll actually get lights out before I get to chain ambush. So what's going to happen is you're going to spend your first point here on mark target, but then you're going to start accumulating perks because you're not going to be leveling these up anytime soon, and you're not getting to 10 anytime soon. So the sniper will end up picking up a lot of these perks right off the bat. Like you'll get almost all of these. So you can pick and choose, but right now you want mark target. So we saved this for lockpicking. And in fact, we might need to spend one more point in sneaky shit right now for the next room, but we'll see. So again, going back to first aid. So first aid 4. We got this at the beginning because of this room here. Because this room, once you zone out of Ranger HQ, Sergey comes in here and cleans up this room.
Stink. Somebody's been using this medbay for a morgue. Gonna take an ocean bleach to get it ready for customers.
Later on, you'll meet somebody that will have codes that access this door. After you get in this door, there's another door behind that also requires another set of codes which that same NPC can give you, and it becomes a moral decision on your part on how you go about dealing with that. So you can get both rooms of loot, and there's another room over here that you will get that has some gear. It's nice gear. But it'll be at the expense of a moral decision, basically. Now, if you noticed, the XP message showed up twice on that check. So when we created this one for the brawler, we picked up first aid 4 because the brawler is going to be the primary first aid check. I have not respect Marshal Quan, and since Marshal Quan has 1 in first aid, if he's able to make the check, so if you have multiple people with the same skills, if they're all able to make the skill check, they all get XP for the skill check. So if everybody had first aid, they all would have gotten experience from that. And all the ones that come after. So, now watch the XP messages. Search for cause of death. And there they go. And that's why you don't respect Marshal Quan yet. And it's not a whole lot of XP, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a drop in the bucket, but, you know, why limit yourself when you don't have to? And I don't know why this option is here. And I'll show you why. Because basically it's just a circular conversation. And there's really no need to have a circular conversation unless you're adding something to it. And even when you pass this check, this option has nothing new. So it's just another one of those programming things that just I don't understand what they're thinking when they're doing it. Alright, so we have first aid for our brawler, so that's why we see this. And remember, Quan has one first aid, but watch what happens when you watch the XP when you hit the check on it. So notice that this time Quan didn't get any XP. It's because Quan would have had to have first aid 4 as well in order to get some XP out of that. Alright, so buried within this pile of corpses is another corpse, and it's easy to miss it, and there's a lore item on it. Okay, so you'll eventually figure out who LP is. I haven't figured out who ST is yet. I don't think I've ever come across him. But the tone of this note does not match the tone of the NPC and the conversations that you have with that NPC. It's like, it doesn't seem like the person that you end up talking to would write the note in this fashion. Yeah, I think they should have done those two dialogues at the same time. They should have done, whoever wrote the dialogue for the NPC should have wrote this note. It's clear that they did not. These are written, the character NPC was written by somebody, and somebody else did this note. Okay, so now we're to the point where we need to deal with getting into this room and explosives. Alright, so we had enough perception to detect the trap already. And sneaky shit increases your perception along with, you know, the skill to increase perception. So that means we can save our points and not go into sneaky shit. So now we can go and respec Marshal Quan.
Rangers, good to see you.
Now, you do not have to go to Sergei Gretzky every time to,
I'll be here.
you know, to do this. You can manage your team from here and do that. I always go to Sergey because I'm trying to get his dialogue lines. So,
Rangers, good to see you.
you know, it's just random when he says his other dialogue lines. So if you don't keep clicking on Sergey throughout the game, you're gonna miss some dialogues. And I'm trying to get as much dialogue out of the game as I can. It's one of the whole reasons of playing. So we're going to manage our
Sure thing.
recruits.
Let's have a look.
And Marshal Kwan. Okay. Actually, before we do that,
There
let me
you go.
show you.
Anything else? I'll be here.
So without doing anything special, we didn't have to do the diggables. We have 204, and there's still a couple more opportunities to get a little more cash. So if you're not at 200 at this point, there's still a couple of opportunities without using Prospector to get cash. But now we have it, so it's time to respect.
Rangers, good to see you. Sure thing. Let's have a look.
Now in the very beginning of the game when they first released it, you couldn't. It seems like, from what I understand, you couldn't retrain your companions, but now you can.
There you go. Anything else?
Okay, so
I'll be here.
right now we're at level 4, and Quan is at level 4, but these three are at level 3. So we can go back here to Sergey.
In my experience, putting two groups together in tight quarters is a recipe for trouble. Something's gonna happen. Sooner rather than later.
Alright, so there's one of his random lines about the refugees that we just decided to allow to stay in Ranger HQ. So there we go, got one of the unique lines.
Now, what can I help you with?
Now, what can I help you with? I mean, really, a 5-second pause on a comma. Anyway.
Sure thing. Let's have a look.
So, level 4, level 4. We're going to drop all the level 3s from the group. Get out.
There you go. Anything else?
Exit the menu altogether.
I'll be here.
Go back in.
Rangers, good to see you. Sure thing. Let's have a look.
Add them all back. Reorder them. I always like to put my brawler up front. The person that generally will do the rally. My submachine gunner, and then, but I like having my looter at the very end of the party.
There you go. Anything else? I'll be here.
So every time I'm looting, I'm clicking at the end, and that makes sure that I have the looter. So now you go in here, and everybody's level 4, and that's how you power level in this game. Alright, so we're saving the skills again for lockpicking here. So we'll go to our brawler. And let's see what we're going to pick up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strength now. We'll still need some more strength, but the armor sets that we get this early in the game won't require much more. So we can go ahead and start doing some coordination. Get some more action points. Nerd stuff, we want to get to 8 immediately. So we're almost there. So we have 6. 8 is necessary for Patriarch's Palace, and that's key right now. Again, we're not picking any brawling until much later, so this is all utility. So another guy that can mark target. So this is our shotgunner. So shotgunner, we've got 3 strength now, so she can wear scrap armor, so that's good. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go up further than that right now, so we're just gonna push up coordination on her. Alright, so remember, this is our hard ass check, our kiss ass check, our survival check. And survival, you don't need to get up until, like, you can get it to 6 before you start going and running around in Colorado, and exploring the actual outside zone. So in downtown Colorado Springs and much of the first content, you don't need survival up yet. So I would go ahead and start leveling up hard ass and kiss ass first. Um, Keep the extra points. The shotgun, you're not really going to need it for damage right now. I mean, you can spend 1 extra point so that you can spend the perk to get Shredder Shot, but again, I don't think it's necessary at this point, so I'd like to save it and try to get these 2 up as high as I can quickly. So right now, Strumpet can mark targets, the Sniper will mark targets. We can mark targets with him, but this is our first person we're going to do our rally with. So we're going to do a rally here. Alright. So this is our submachine gun. So 3 strength. We'll keep her that right now. Start building up coordination. Barter. Save the 2 points for the next barter. And here we can pick up the first barter. We're not going to be selling anything. In fact, I'm going to try to keep as much loot unsold as humanly possible, because you'll run across recipes that actually use junk loot. And if you start selling off all your junk loot, you're gonna miss getting those recipes done as quickly as possible. So eventually you will pick this up and sell all your junk, but don't sell your junk loot until you get some recipes and realize, okay, well shit, I need the burned books, or I need this, or I need that, I need the clown noses. You know, there are things that you need to actually make recipes in this game. And if you didn't know it, then you're selling it all, and you're like, oh man, I sold all that crap. So that's why the prospector is such a good quirk to have. It allows you to make money off of the gold and keep all the junk until you actually have to have more money, or you find something that you want to spend money on. You're like, okay, I need to go ahead and start selling junk loot. But at least then you'll realize, okay, I need some of this junk loot not to be sold. So we're gonna go ahead. We can pick up another marked target. We can pick up another rally. Remember, rally. If you don't know, rally works. Okay, I do rally 1 turn. You get an exhaustion period where you can't use rally again, but you end up using rally multiple times in fights. So it's not. It's good to have multiple people that can do multiple rallies, just like it's great to have multiple people that can do mark targets. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and get another marked target. Also, this is the mechanic skill checker. Once we start getting mechanics up, having extra pockets for this particular character is great, because then you can start using all of your consumables that are machines, and you want to have, you know, extra slots for each machine that you can use. You know, you want to have those slots available, so when you're in combat you can pick, okay, I want to do this and that and the other. Some of the machines are very weak, but that's only because most people aren't going to invest in the perks to make these stronger. So, I mean, you get some extra con, some extra damage, and you end up being able to repair your machines when they get hurt. There's actually some weapons that you can fire off that actually repairs them from distances. But in general, on Supreme Jerk at least, it just seems like they do relatively weak damage all the way across the board. Even when you start putting perks up to increase their capability, like this 25% damage boost here. You know, when you use it on the turret, I mean, it's like, okay, give me some more damage, and it's like, well, it's hardly noticeable, but whatever. Maybe it gets better if I get to mechanics 10 and deploy it then. I don't know. Anyway, So who was the character that we had for hard ass and kiss ass? Okay, so here we go, Vixen. So we'll go ahead right now and give Vixen that trinket so that she always has that running. Later on, you'll use other trinkets and have to swap in and out when you need to use kiss ass, but for now, stick it on her. So that pops it up by 1. Alright, now back to Marshal Kwan. Okay, so Marshal Kwan's going to be my big gunner. And I'm going to... If you haven't seen all the other characters yet, yes, 10 intelligence, 2 charisma, 2 strength to start. That's almost standard on every character I do. Yeah, the 2 charisma, you get the 3 extra con per level off the bat, and this is just mathematically, this is the way to go with charisma if you're not leveling all the way up to 10. You know, there are certain parts where 3 is not as good as 4 or 5. I mean, as far as rates, but you know, 4 is worse than you know 2, but 6 is better than 4. It's just there's an equation out there that you can search on, and it'll tell you the actual beneficial parts of where charisma cuts off, and it's not as beneficial if you're not spending all the way to 10. All right, so big gunner. He likes a lot of coordination because it takes a lot of fucking AP to fire his weapons and move around and do what he needs to do. So coordination is huge on this character. Awareness is actually decent on this character as well. I usually bump up this guy's strength because I like looking at him with nice big armor just because it just looks good and it goes good with you know, big weapons. So it might not be necessary. You may not need to spend this much on it, but I'm gonna go ahead and give him 5 strength to wear armor and spend the rest in coordination. We'll max out coordination from this point, and then I'll end up maxing out awareness and probably speed. I may even level up speed and awareness at the same time. We'll see. Alright, so as far as skill checks go, he is going to be the one that does my weird science skill checks, and you need a weird science skill check for Patriarch's Palace, and I believe it is 8 that you need it at in order to pass that skill check. So you got to spend a lot of points early on to get that skill check, and let's see if I can spend it all now. Let's see how much that really would get me at this point. So he's also going to do explosives, so no, I can't spend all those points yet because I need to have explosives higher. So I want to have explosives as at least 5 here. I think it's 5 here in Ranger HQ. It might not be 5, it might be 4, but you're going to need to get explosives up anyway, so it's not terrible if you don't need 5. Okay, so if we go back to Weird Science, spend and max, we have 2 left over. He's also going to be toaster repair, so we want to be able to have the ability to get the first toaster, which requires 3. So we'll get toaster repair to 3, and then explosives. God, where the fuck is it? Explosives to. Why does it keep doing that? It's some kind of weird ass bug this game has. Sometimes it does that, and I don't know why. So pick explosives first, and then go to toaster repair. Man, it's weird. It's bugging out. Alright, let's get out of this. Try it again. Okay. So it didn't like me doing that. So let's pick explosives first. Go back, try to pick toaster repair. There we go. Okay. Alright. Dumbass game. Now we'll pick up Weird Science, and we still have 2 left over from that. So then we can go ahead and get the big guns. So we'll give him the first trait, and the first perk for the big guns is a very good perk to have. So you gain the combat speed on your very first turn when you're using. So basically, you're getting 5 speed right off the bat if you have a big gun equipped. I mean, that's great. Um, we're not going to pick it right now, though. We're going to go ahead and pick up bomb recovery because we're going to start disarming traps and mines. So we want the ability to pick up grenades as quickly as possible. So we're picking up grenades. The next skill point we'll spend will be on toaster repair. Well, it won't be on toaster repair. Yes, it will be on toaster repair. So you get extra loot from the toaster. So his first 2 perks will be these 2, and then we'll go into big guns. So bomb recovery. So we've picked up some recipes. I can't say I've ever created any of these yet. Like, I haven't had a need to create any of the grenades yet. I don't want to waste scrap on those. And once you start getting some recipes, especially if you do Steel Town first, you can start blowing through some scrap. It's you use a lot more than you think once you start creating things. Alright, so we made him our big gunner, so his weapon needs to be our war pig. Okay, so, and he can also equip the flamethrower or the rocket launcher, because he also will be our explosives. So explosive will eventually be to 10, weird science will be, weird science, I think the maximum skill check is like 8 in the game. And that's the Patriarch's Palace, so pretty much he'll get 8 and that'll be the end of that. Until we start doing elemental weapons, and then things will change a little bit. Alright, so now, picking our looter, we can go back and deal with this room.
Look at all this machinery. If we can get it all running, this will be a good spot for your armory.
And see that? We picked up a frag grenade on the very first one. 33% chance. Now again, this is something else you can save, scum, but I won't even go to that point. I mean, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. I am not going to sit here and reload over and over and over just to get an extra grenade. But it's nice to get the 33% chance in the first one just to show you why you do that, why you pick that perk. So, level 4. No grenade, alright. Okay, another grenade there. So eventually Quan gets bonuses for throwing, and damage is, you know, increasing in range of your throwables, and fire damage and explosive damage. So he's usually going to be the one that you're going to fire off your grenades with. Okay, so we've dealt with all these rooms now. We can go outside. Avoid going towards this fucking thing, because every time one ranger, one of the custom-made rangers come up against this thing, it spits out a line, and if another one comes next to it, it actually interrupts the line, spits out the same line, and it'll sit there, interrupt, spit out, like 4 or 5 times as you run by the damn thing. So, getting ready to show you this part once we get all the normal stuff done. So that's another diggable. So that's the second diggable of the zone. Our friendly neighborhood chicken. You'll gather several chickens throughout the start of the game to come back here, several cyborg chickens You can actually get regular chickens too, and they give you XP. They give you an XP bonus. But anyway, the cyborg chickens come back and they all congregate here. So when you have enough animal whisperer, you'll pick up a cyborg chicken and it'll run around with you as if it's a companion. It can die. Don't let it die. Once you pick up a cyborg chicken, get back to Ranger HQ, dump it here, then go back and continue what you're doing. Don't bring the cyborg chicken into fights, because then you're just gonna get it killed. Alright, so there's the third diggable, fourth diggable. So Ranger HQ is really setting you up, if you have the prospector check, to get some money. So 4 diggables in the zone. And this is the explosives check that would have disappeared if you left before coming here. Assuming that we have enough sneaky shit to get it. Okay, cool. We do. So level 3. So yeah, you only need to level 4 explosives to get the traps in Ranger HQ. Ah, no grenade. That's unfortunate. Alright, some Radtech armor. Actually, you can get some decent armor too here. If you save scum a little bit, you can get stronger armor, but I'm not going to do that right now. Not worried about it. So, strength of 4. I really like the scrap armor look on the clown, so I think I'm going to try to put that Radtech on Quan instead. This looks horrible. Just absolutely horrible, so I'll take that off. In case you didn't know that, you can do that. You know, if the armor looks terrible, I just swap it off. So we got a critical chance and some armor. She's using the hat. Critical chance. Let's go ahead and give that to our submachine gun. And that's not a bad look here. Not a bad look. Is this a worse look? Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's just... Ugh. Anyway, alright, so who can use this? We all have scout armor, and this is merc armor, so let's go ahead and give you the merc armor and turn it off because it's so ugly. Alright, so now we're at the point of dealing with the diggables. So again, make sure you have your prospector. Find your first diggable. Be careful, even though you have this selected, if it's not the closest one to the diggable, whoever's closer, like if I go out here with a diggable, right? Let's save it so I don't fuck it up. Alright, so I have honey selected. Look at that. Why? What the hell? Why are you going there, Quan? I mean, so see what I'm saying? You gotta have, your primary guy has to be the closest one to the diggable. So anyway, save. Click. Hope you'll get lucky. Alright. So, no luck there. Reload. This can take several reloads to get, but shows you the percentage of chance that you actually have of getting it from having the prospector on. And 0 for 2. And like I said, I believe this should have been a 50 to even 75% chance of getting something out of this if you pick this quirk. Because you're actually spending a quirk for it. I mean, that's a powerful thing to spend for this ability. 0 for 3 now. Oh for 4. Oh for 5. What's cool is you can read these messages down here on the quick saves. You know, oftentimes you won't read those at all, like you'll never read them, but if you do something like this, at least you can read the messages. I lost track. Are we on 0 for 6 now? I think it's 0 for 6. Oh for 7. Oh for 8. Oh for 9. Oh for 10. Sorry again for the abrupt pause. Life keeps happening, so we have to deal with it. We're back. We were looking at the prospector quirk, and we are at 0 for 10 on seeing what you actually benefit from having that quirk. So we're on 0 for 11 now. Yeah. So 0 for 11. As I said, this can take a while. 0 for 12. Oh for 13. Oh for 15. Oh for 16. So remember I said this is a convenience build. It's a convenience build in the fact that you have the skill and can do it now. It's not convenience to have to reload and reload and reload, but you know. I believe this is 17. So, going on the 18th attempt, and still nothing. 18. Oh for 18. Going on the 19th. So, you gotta start having some power of positive thinking here. So let's like will it to do what we want it to here. And no, 19. Positive thoughts for number 20. And there we go. Okay. So on the 20th attempt, we finally hit a payload. We get a gold nugget, and we get 3. So that's not bad. It's random. I can't recall exactly, but I've seen where I only had 1, and I've seen where I've had 4. So you know that's a decent haul. You see the price down there at 500. It's not the best. It's the worst one actually. There's 2 more of higher value. I believe there's 1 gold bar is higher value. I think the other one is also higher value. So hopefully we see that. So yeah, this price that you see there at 500 is not what you'll sell it now. But once we get barter up to about 9, okay, you'll start making bank. I mean that's what you're looking for is this right here. Alright, so we also pick up 7 piles of dog shit because yeah, that's what we do. We pick up shit, I guess. So looking at our recipes, yeah, we can make these now, and that's awesome. Frag grenade, Molotov cocktail. Alright, so we can also make special dog shit. Well, okay, well what's this for? Well, that's cool, you know, you're not sure why you'd want to pick this up. Yeah, I don't know. But let's craft it, right? Boom. Dog shit created. Alright, let's go look at our dog shit. Let's go look at it. All I see is a nugget. Where's my dog shit? Well, I still have 7 piles of poo, but where's my craftable dog shit? You know, what happened? Not there. Not there. Not there. Not there. Not there. Perhaps it's dog shit ammo? Dog shit armor. Dog shit weapon? Dog shit nothing. What's the point of this? What? If anybody can tell me what the point of this is, I would love to know. Put it in the goddamn comments. Because it seems to be completely fucking broken. Or just, it's just there to annoy you to begin with. I don't know. So we actually have level 4 on her. I forgot about that. This might have been on a reload. I forgot. I need to go ahead and stick her up there. Okay. So that was spot 1. So we have 3 more diggable spots here that we need to get our gold from. And oh yeah, avoid that goddamn Kodiak. And there's Jody Bell. I don't believe Jody Bell has a new line, but let's go check her out.
I need to rest a spell. Catch my breath. That all right with you? Later.
Alright, Jody Bell's gonna slack some more. So we are at like, okay, 20th, 10th, yeah. Alright, so let's see if this can be a little bit better than our previous. Right on the money. Okay. Whew. Okay. So some more gold nuggets, still the same one, but not. I wanted to see a different one just to show you what it is, but okay, we can't get that lucky. So let's have some power of positive thoughts on the next 2. I'm a big believer in powerful positive thoughts. So if you will it, it will happen. Hopefully. Never enter life with negative thoughts. And here we go again. If you ever catch yourself saying, like, if you're playing a game or whatnot, you know, don't ever get into the habit of saying, I don't want to lose. You want to get in the habit of saying, I want to win. And there we go. There's some win. 4 win, but still the same gold nuggets. Where am I going? Okay. 1, 2. Oh, okay. Did we get all 4 of them already? I think we did, and I just didn't realize it. Okay, so I picked up that one, we picked up this one, we picked up the first one. I don't know if I picked up the second one over here, did I? Another big pile over here that I skipped up. Let's go. Come on, move it. Jesus. Yeah, there's one more. Okay. So yeah, you know, don't get into the thought process of I will not lose. You want to get into the thought process of I will win. I recently played in an APA A-ball qualifier for the American Pool Players Association A-ball championship in Las Vegas, and one of my teams qualified, and we won a slot there out of. All right. Well, we didn't get as lucky here with the gold loot. We got a lot of gold nuggets, but there are better ones that we could have gotten. But that's not bad. We got a significant amount, so we're good. So yeah, I ended up qualifying for my team qualified for an APA slot, so we're going to be out in Vegas in August playing in the big tournament. And when I've learned you need to have power of positive thoughts if you're expecting to ever win something. Don't ever go into things thinking that you're going to lose. Always say you're going to win. Alright, so, there is one chest that we left behind in case we needed to get some money. So we'll go up here and get that now. So we spent the 200 on Marshall Kwan for the respec, and we're net 5 left. Alright, and our gold nuggets. And let's get something good here. What are we gonna get? We got crap. We even got crap loot here. Ah, that's terrible. Alright. So we are now officially done with this part of Ranger HQ. So Ranger HQ here had a lot of dialogue. Um, I would say, at least an hour and 30 minutes of dialogue between all these NPCs if you try to get it all. I want to show you that annoying message that I've been avoiding. So
Systems active. Greetings, Rangers.
yeah, if you would have brought everybody there, it would have been system active, system active, system active. It's just annoying. Anyway, so we have the choice of going down to downtown Colorado, taking the Kodiak, going to the world map, and zoning in that way, or taking the footpath down. If you want to go get Lucia Wesson first, you would take the footpath down. If you want to get her later, you go ahead and take the Kodiak out. I would suggest to take the Kodiak out and get Lucia later, because once you pick her up, put her in the party, she has some dialogue lines that she spits out at times that you don't really want to see it because other NPCs are talking, and it's like, oh, why? So you end up having to reload just if you want to hear her comments and then hear the other NPC comments. So it's easier to go to her from the other side of the zone so that you get all the dialogue out of the way. So when you do pick her up, okay, all her dialogue is easily heard without interruptions from other NPCs. So we'll go ahead and
Systems active. Greetings, Rangers.
take this down to downtown Colorado Springs. So you can take the footpath here, or you can go ahead and load into the car. Once you leave here, though, Sergey cleans up this place, and the robot that was in here in the garage is cleaned up. So if you weren't able to do that encounter because you didn't have the mechanics, then you lose the ability to get that. The lockpicking things that were in there are still there. They don't get cleaned up. The explosive room is still there until you get somebody to man that station. The bodies are still there. I believe the bodies are still in the med bay until you get the doctor to come in. Where we killed the Razorbacks, that stays like it is until you get an NPC that comes out and clears this room out. The brig stays as it is, but the body in the brig gets taken out, so you have to deal with that body too before you go. So you'll actually lose the ability to do those things, and this trap here, for whatever reason, no longer exists in the zone when you zone out. So deal with those beforehand, because you don't want to lose the XP and whatever. Alright, so we're taking the Kodiak, load into the car, head to the world map. Now usually, once you go into the world map here and go down and get your first transmissions that give you the initial quest for the map, after that initial part is done, you've got those initial radio transmissions completed, every time you zone into Colorado, 3 seconds after you zone in, that radio is going to fire off a random message. Exactly 3 seconds when you come in. So here we are, Colorado Springs, largest and most modern city in Colorado. Downtown area has shops and services of every kind. Okay, so we're going into downtown Colorado Springs. Save here. And next episode we're going to pick up with doing a lot of NPC conversations, getting some random dialogues from certain characters, and moving up into downtown Colorado Springs. Most of the next episode is going to be NPC interactions. There's hardly going to be any fighting for the next probably 2 or 3 episodes because there's so much NPC interactions before you get to to being able to do anything in the game at this point. I mean, you're really just talking to so many different things. So to finalize this episode, we'll take a look here. What do we? Nothing really changed from the previous time we looked at this, so you know we're pretty much looking at this quest right here, Full House, to start getting our guys into Ranger HQ and talking to Sheriff Daisy. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we are. We're at level 4. And that's what the tributes look like right now at level 4 for each one. And skills, we are, here we go. Okay, so Brawler, nerd stuff, that's going to be the main check. Going to be the main check on first aid. Our Shotgunner is going to be main kiss ass, main hard ass, main survival for the skill checks. Binks are one of our first rangers. Skill checks are going to be a barter and mechanics. Quan will be our weird science and explosives, and he will also be our toaster repair skill checks. And the primary is lockpicking and sneaky shit skill checks. So Lucia will come into the group much later. As far as episode-wise, there's going to be that much NPC interaction before you ever get to talking to her. But yeah, and she'll fill out the other ones once we get her in, and we'll get back to Ranger HQ. We'll respec her to fill out the party, and then I'll show you that should be the finalized part of it, and show you who's going to. Honey's going to be the armor modder as well, just to remember, and the weapons I'll put on somebody else too. Alright, so ending this episode now, and we'll pick this up on the next episode, starting with downtown Colorado Springs. Have fun, guys.